Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for Hey Little Magpie. And for this layout I'm using a mix of two collections by Bea Valint. I'm using Sketchbook and Smiles for Miles. So I'm using this base paper that's called Delightful from the Sketchbook range, and I'm just going to put over it some white cardstock. In the tray on my left I've got all the bits and pieces from both these collections that are in pinks and yellows. This is a colour combo that I really like and something that I go back to I've gone back to on previous occasions, and I'm going to try and do like a partial grid layout. I don't want to fill all the white cardstock, but I'm looking for pieces that I can use with a travel theme. Smiles for Miles is, I suppose, a travel range. Sketchbook isn't, but I think the two collections go really well together, and I'm going to show you that over the coming month. So to build this grid, I'm going to use some of the tags that I cut out from the Sketchbook tag 12 by 12 paper. I've got the Smiles for Miles papery pack, I think if you call it, I think that's the right word. I've also got the Smiles for Miles ephemera. So I'm going to make a real mix actually, and I'm looking mainly through colour. The photos are going to be colour photos rather than black and white, but there are hints of both of these colours in the pictures. So I think hopefully the tones will work really well together. I'm also conscious that I want to add some journaling in a couple of places, so I want to leave some space for that as well. And I want to just try and create a mix of the colours across the page. The taxi was the inspiration for the whole layout really. So that's how this all started in my head. I printed 3 photographs there. I only used 2 in the end. I wasn't sure how they would match with the colorways, and those photographs, I think they're around 3 by 3.5 inches in diameter. So I printed them myself, but you could easily trim down a 6 by 4 to make that sort of size. I picked that size because the pieces of the papery kit that they're set that they're sitting on are actually quite wide. So I'd gone for some narrower photos to start with, or I'd cut some bits of scrap paper to see how big the photos should be, and they looked a bit too small, so I made the photos slightly wider. So they're 3 inches across by 3.5 inches tall. So these are like chipboard foam stick. Well, I suppose they're not chipboard at all, are they? They're foam stickers, but it looks like a chipboard 12 by 12 sheet, if that makes sense, but they're foam and they are sticky. And there's a few bits on there that I'm hoping to add in too, as long as it coordinates with the rest. So the idea, once I saw that taxi, was to scrap some photographs from a trip to New York at Easter earlier this year. I took my daughter, and it was her first time there. And having been there a couple of times before, it was really, really nice to see it through somebody else's eyes. So I'm going to gut that background paper there, and I'm just sewn around this white cardstock in a like a fuchsia pink thread, and I'm just running a distresser around there as well. On the side there, out of some yellow cardstock, I've used one of the new metal dies by Hey Little Magpie, and it's like a scalloped edge, but it's a really fine one, and I'm going to add that later on around the edge as well to carry on with the pops of yellow. So I'm just going to lay this out again, make sure I'm happy. Now I've got the sewing, it's actually made the square a little smaller, so I'm just going to make sure that everything fits. Now I really like the tags from this sketchbook collection, but there isn't a hole to punch in the top of the tags. It's like a narrow like letterbox opening. I find it a little tricky to cut out by hand. They're not very neat, don't look too close. But it's different, and consequently, because of that, I do thread ribbon in one of them. So I suppose it's got its pros and cons, but I prefer to punch the holes in tags, if I'm honest. So I'm just getting everything where it should be. I think the doorways in this collection are really cute too, in the ephemera. So I think one of those, it was worth getting one of those on here as well. The heart washi sticker is from the papery pack as well. I think there's about over 104, I think, pieces in that pack. So there's loads to choose from. Now, something I was going to say is, have you checked out the Hey Little Magpie embellishments in the store? that little ribbon smile up by the photograph, the little leatherette heart. I think I'm going to use a little charm there, little heart charm, all out of the store. Also some of the flair that I've got there, all Hey Little Magpie's own. And I think they're great little ways of finishing off a layout. So I would really recommend that you check all of these out. Also, there's some new dies in the store as well. So all worthwhile checking out as you go. The chipboard pieces in the papery pack are a little bit thick for my liking, so I've just pared off a few layers by sticking my nail just under the edge and reducing the bulk a little bit. Just means that I can maybe get an extra page in my album. So I'm just getting all these extra little bits added in. I really like the drink and the flair, and I think just decorating some of the tags with a little bit of interest. And I'm just going to pop some ribbon through that tag there. That is seam binding, that's also from the store. And I'm going to use a little bit of their wax twine as well to actually wrap around that to pull it in. So I'm just cutting off a piece of there, and I'm going to just knot it over the top of that just to add a little bit of interest. And I'm going to attach that little heart charm as well to that thread. So just little pops of interest that keep your eye moving around the page, really. I'm going to do the journaling off camera at the end, but I did contact my daughter and say, right, what were your highlights? Because this trip was not about me, it was about her. It was quite made me laugh. Pizza was one of the things that she said that was one of her highlights of being there, and I was quite impressed considering she's vegetarian. And but we did consume probably our body weights in pizza while we were there. So anyway, these are the die cut yellow cardstock from earlier. Now obviously the length of the die is really long. I'm going to trim some of those down and just pop some of that yellow around. So while I get my act together, I'm just popping that in under the raised edge by the stitching, just to add more interest. Again, I think it just works against the pale pink in the background. So there's lots of ways that you could use die cuts like that. So this is this layout finished. I hope you like it. Feel like we're having a little bit of white space in the top left helps keep it feeling less cluttered. Journaling's done, as you can see. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these ranges and the Hey Little Magpie in the store. Bye for now.